Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. It's my pleasure to review a book I've reviewed before. It's a new edition of what is called Community Care and the Law. It's been written by Luke Clements, and this edition here is the Pauline Thompson Memorial Edition. It's the 6th edition. I'm recording this review in 2017, just as we have heard the news that there will be a general election. So there's quite a lot of possible change on the horizon. The book's been written by, as I say, Luke Clements, with a number of people supporting him. Karen Ashton, Simon Garlick, Carolyn Goodall, Gould, Edward Mitchell and Alison Pickup. The book's available both as a paperback, which we'll look at, and as an e-book, and it comes to us from Legal Action Group, which is the Access to Justice charity. This is the book. It's a heavy book, actually. It's a paperback. There we go. There's the front, there's the spine, and then you've got the back. There we go, front and then the back there. And you can just see a little bit of a shaded area right at the back. That's where the appendices are. And that gives you some idea of, in fact, you can imagine what the legislation is. It's the Care Act 2014. You can see that there, set out as the piece of legislation. Then right at the back, the book runs to nearly 950 pages. There's the index. It's by paragraph numbering. A lot of detail. You should be able to find what you're looking for pretty quickly. If I go to the front of the book, as I say, this has been dedicated to Pauline Thompson, and I'll mention a little bit about that in a moment. That's the front cover there, and then after that you've got the actual detail there, and then there's a piece about Pauline, which is mentioned there, setting out the fact it's in memory of her and the reasons for it, because the book was being published at the time she died. The preface is always well worth reading, so you've got some idea of what's actually in the book. And the preface is dated March 2017. I'm recording this in April 2017. There are the contents sections. There's a lot of information here. This is an important area now because of the whole range of problems that we are facing. There are 20 chapter headings in total, and then 2 appendices, then some cases, and then after the cases, statutes, of course, then after the statutes, statutory instruments, and then after that you've got the European and International. That always makes an entry today, and then very useful abbreviations, a lot of abbreviations, so it's useful to always check because it's quite easy to forget what some of the abbreviations mean. Then you've got the body copy of the book itself, paragraph numbering at the side, and a lot of useful footnotes, and it just runs all the way through. You can see how it runs. As I say, it runs to something like 950 pages in total. That's the book. Now, what do we say about this book? Well, quite a lot. We've reviewed it before, and it's been around for a while. It's now in the 6th edition. Community care, of course, is an important area for everybody with an ageing population, and of course the law relating to community care will be obviously changing over the period of time, which is why we've had regular editions coming out. Now, for the review, I've given our review title the following: a particularly poignant key text for 2017, a gem and an indispensable guide for modern community care law. Those are quotes from other people, but I think they're very apposite. Now, what do we say? The new 6th edition of Community Care and the Law has been published in memory of Pauline Thompson OBE, who died on the 13th of January 2014. And Pauline was a leading expert on the detail of welfare rights and advised many national bodies on community care reforms, having been a stalwart of Age Concern, which is now known as Age UK. And she'll be remembered with great affection for her outstanding knowledge and contribution to the development of a better social care system. So I'm so delighted that this has been produced in her memory because of the tremendous work she did in this area. And with the arrival of the new 6th edition from the Legal Action Group, Professor Clements has rewritten the work, although he doesn't cover the law in Wales or the rights of disabled children, and he makes that clear in the preface. It goes without saying today that we, as practitioners, rely heavily on the exceptional standard and content of LAG publications throughout the field of welfare law, and we couldn't do our jobs effectively, in my view, without these books. They are available in the courts. They're available in quite a lot of public libraries as well, because they are, of all the publications we have, these particular books I think are absolutely fundamental, because they do explain in very simple English where the law is, where to find it, and how you use it in terms of procedure. So it's available certainly for practitioners, and we didn't have these books in the past, and so our lives were a little bit more difficult, but in a modern age, absolutely fundamental. Without doubt, it's the preeminent legal text on adult social care law, and the contributors who I've mentioned are all leading experts in the field, and lead author, of course, Clements, was the expert advisor to the parliamentary committee that scrutinised the bill that became the Care Act 2014, and that, as I say, is basically at the back of the book. This edition has involved a comprehensive revision of the established text to provide an up-to-date analysis of the law relating to the rights of adults in need and carers in England. And so Community Care and the Law is the leading text for lawyers, policymakers, local authority and voluntary sector advisors and carers. And that's exactly what we get here with what Mind described rightly as a gem of a book, because that's what it is. The contributors present this interestingly important and highly complex area of law with the clarity we need, but without oversimplification. And it's a detailed route map through the law, which gives all of us practical guidance on how community care impacts on procedures and services. And there's a comprehensive coverage of local government powers and duties for the following areas, which, depending on what you're looking for, adults in need and carers. We found that within its 950 odd pages, the step-by-step guide to complaints and the ombudsman and judicial review procedures in the remedies chapter towards the end is really of great help, and I'm sure a lot of practitioners will be looking at that area. The publication states that it covers the following detailed areas, and I'll just list them. They are listed here as well, but I'll list them so you know what's in there. It's the statutory scheme, the well-being duty, and the other cross-cutting obligations, assessments, care planning and care services, ordinary residence, charging direct payments, National Health Service continuing health care, hospital discharge and intermediate care, mental capacity, housing, group-specific care and support duties for older people, people with learning difficulties, disabilities, autism, mental health difficulties, substance misuse, sensory impairments, and prisoners, people subjected to immigration controls, the regulation of care, and right at the end, the safeguarding issues, which are obviously very important for all of us, and remedies. So with that exhaustive list, you've got a very good idea of the main contents of the book. Now, there's extensive cross-referencing to be expected for easy navigation. It appears throughout, and I found it is, as usual with all these books, it's easy to find things and the navigation is not difficult at all. I did like the glossary, the sort of abbreviations. That also helps us immensely trying to understand the complexities, because it is more complex than it used to be. Also, the appendices include text of the key provisions of the Care Act 2014 and other relevant legislation for ease of reference for practitioners and advisors. And without doubt, we owe, I think, a great debt of gratitude to Professor Clements and his team and all at LAG for the new edition, so thank you. The publication date is cited at March 2017, and it's available in both print and eBook form. Just show you it again. It's a heavy book, actually, this one. There it is. If we just go to the back again, you can see the the actual Care Act 2014 is set out right at the back in the schedule, in the appendix rather. There we go, you can see that. So you do have that immediately to hand should you need it. But if I just open it up in the centre section, this is National Health Service, general responsibilities for services. Palliative health care, for instance, is covered. You can see the paragraph numbering and the footnotes, which are both basically a very great assistance. And again, charging, for instance. There are a whole range of very important points there. This is a very substantial work, and as I've said, I'm very grateful to the Legal Action Group for the work that they do. On behalf certainly of all practitioners and the judiciary, I know that these are books that we do have to rely on, and the work that's gone into this is incomparable in my view. When I go back over the 50 years now as well, not as a barrister, but certainly involved in the legal profession, and I remember things as they were where they were in the late 60s and early 70s, one can see these massive changes that have taken place, and so we need books like this. So a big thank you to everybody concerned. Bye bye.